Next topic. 0 Chapter 3. Fundamentals. 3.1 How the BACnet standard is organized. 3.2 The ISO Open Systems Interconnection Basic Reference Model, BRM, ISO 7498. 3.3 BACnet Protocol Architecture. 2 Here's a concise bullet point summary of the 1964 Impala floor pan restoration journey and trip to Restoration World, Hammer and Wrench Restoration Project Update. Purchased full front floor pan for 1964 Impala, one-piece design, why replace instead of patch? Severe rust in front toe well/floor areas. Goal, 0 rust for long-term quality. Previous patch jobs on other vehicles didn't meet this project's standards. Automobile trip to Restoration World, Huber Heights OH Disneyland for GM car enthusiasts. Specializes in 1955 to 70 GM full-size parts, Impala, Bel Air, trucks, massive inventory, sheet metal, trim, wiring, dashboards, etc. Can source rare parts quickly, supply chain permitting, featured finds, super sport trim pieces. Correct 64 Impala tail lights. Convertible specific parts, future plans, wrench floor pan details, chose pan without braces to accommodate future convertible cage nut. Installation cost, $489, price varies. Next steps, remove old carpet for full rust evaluation. Salvage rear seat pan if possible, less rusted. Frame prep before floor pan installation. Light bulb pro tips from the video. Restoration World ships nationwide. Ideal for hard to find parts. Their assembly manuals are gold for DIYers. Example: rocker panel replacement, patch versus replace, personal choice, but full pans ensure longevity. For show quality builds. Clapperboard coming soon. Floor pan removal/install videos. Convertible conversion progress. Round push pin. Restoration World contact, off I-70 near Dayton OH. Website/link for parts inquiries. Restoring a classic is like BACnet. Miss one bolt, property, and the whole system rattles. Alice the mechanic winking face. Video ends with floor pan mock-up on frame. Stay tuned for the transformation. 3 Next topic. 0 Chapter 3. 3.4 The BACnet Application Layer. 3.41 The BACnet Object Model. 3.4.2 BACnet Services. 3.5 The BACnet Network Layer. 3.6 BACnet Data Links. 2 Here's the BACnet concepts explained through the lens of the 1964 Impala restoration analogy. Checkered flag. BACnet systems explained like a classic car restoration wrench. 3.4 The BACnet application layer equals the Impala's custom body work, like replacing the full floor pan for structural integrity. This layer handles core functionality. 3.4.1 Object model equals the car's blueprint, just as floor pans must match factory specs. 3.4.2 Services equals specialized tools, like the restoration shop's sheet metal brakes, hammer and wrench. 3.5 The BACnet network layer equals the Impala's wiring harness routes communication, like wiring connects components must be rust-free, error-free, like the new floor pans. Clean metal patch jobs fail long-term. Rightward arrow. Full replacements preferred, like choosing all new wiring, high voltage. 3.6 BACnet data links equals the drivetrain. Physical connections equals drive shaft/linkage protocols, Ethernet, ArcNet, etc. equals transmission options, 4-speed vs automatic. Restoration World lesson, use correct period parts, like choosing proper BACnet transport. Key analogies, object model equals factory assembly manual. Services equals specialty tools, wheel alignment equals COV notifications. Network layer equals underbody rust protection, prevents corrosion of data. Data links equals correct lug nut sizing, physical compatibility matters. Pro tips, patch vs replace applies to both. Temporary BACnet workarounds fail like Bondo patches. Full protocol implementations last like new floor pans. Testing equals dry fitting panels before welding. Documentation equals Restoration World's assembly manuals coming soon. Troubleshooting BACnet like a mechanic. Multimeter equals protocol analyzer, Choosing BACnet parts like restoration components. Building BACnet systems is automotive restoration for buildings. Do it right with factory specs. 3. Next topic. 0. Chapter 3. 3.7 BACnet encoding. 3.8 BACnet procedures. 3.9 BACnet network security. 2. Wrench BACnet systems explained, like restoring a 64 Impala. 3.7 BACnet encoding equals the car's blueprint language, like reading factory Impala schematics. Encoding ensures everyone interprets data the same way. Thumbscrew issue, misreading specs equals wrong parts installed, like confusing metric/SAE. Carfix, restoration world's manuals show exact measurements, like BACnet's tag length value encoding. Hammer and wrench. 3.8 BACnet procedures equals the mechanics repair process, standardized steps like replacing floor pans. Remove old carpet, disconnect network, cut out rust, error handling, dry fit new pan, message testing, weld permanently, confirmed service, why it matters, skip steps. Rightward arrow rattles emerge, like unconfirmed COV notifications. Locked with key. 3.9 BACnet security equals the Impala's anti-theft system current state, like a 1964 door lock, easily picked, needed upgrade. Modern alarm equals BACnet/SC encryption. Thumbscrew issue, we never locked our cars, mentality leaves systems vulnerable. Resto world solution, ship only. Authenticated parts, like device certificates, key analogies. Encoding errors equals installing Camaro parts on an Impala, incompatible but look similar. Procedure skipping equals forgetting to seal welds, leaks appear later. Security gaps equals leaving keys in ignition, common in BACnet/IP networks. Pro tips from the shop, dry fit first equals test encodings in a lab before deployment. Factory manuals rule equals follow BACnet procedures exactly. Thieves target classics equals older BACnet devices need security. Retrofits coming soon. Troubleshooting BACnet like engine diagnostics. Choosing security upgrades like disc brake conversions. Building reliable BACnet systems requires the same discipline as frame-off restorations, no shortcuts. Hammer and wrench round pushpin. BACnet resources, BACnet International equals your restoration world. 4 protocols. Cybersecurity guide equals the modern alarm system your building needs. 3. Next topic. 0. Chapter 3. 3.10 BACnet Web Services, BACnet/WS, 3.11 BACnet Systems and Specifications. 2. Here's the BACnet concepts explained through the classic Impala restoration analogy, globe with meridians. 3.10 BACnet/WS, Web Services, equals the Impala's modern Bluetooth system, like adding Bluetooth to a classic radio. BACnet/WS bridges old systems to web tech restoration world. Parallel, their new online parts catalog, web access to classic components, key features. SOAP/WSDL equals factory approved wiring diagrams. RESTful API equals custom hot rod modifications. Thumbscrew alert, poor implementation equals static filled audio, like drop data packets. Clipboard. 3.11 BACnet systems and specs equals the Impala's factory build sheet. Official documentation like restoration world's assembly manuals. BTL certification equals GM factory stamp, guarantees compatibility. Device profiles equals trim level specs, Bel Air versus Super Sport. Critical components, Annex A, normative, equals the Impala's VAN decoder. Annex B, informative, equals restoration tips from veteran mechanics. Adjusts greasy baseball cap and leans against workbench with a knowing grin. Alright, listen up gearheads and techs. Here's how restoring a 64 Impala is just like working with BACnet systems. Slams open a well-worn manual on the hood. First up, our restoration to BACnet cheat sheet. Points with a wrench. See these correct Super Sport trim pieces? That's your BTL certified devices right there. Don't be slapping on cheap will-fit knockoff controllers, they'll fail faster than a plastic Chevy emblem in July. Flips page dramatically. Now these convertible cage nuts we're adding? That's your BACnet/WS security extensions. Got a plan for 'em early? Trying to weld them in after the fact? Spitz might as well try installing seat belts after the wreck. Wipes hands on shop rag. This rust-free floor pan we're dropping in? That's a fully compliant implementation. Partial patches might look good for a season, but they'll rot out faster than a Michigan fender, Thump's manual and these assembly manuals we live by. That's your BACnet standard document. You wouldn't eyeball suspension geometry, don't wing your protocol implementations. Now for some hard-earned lessons. Holds up oil-stained fingers to count. Matching numbers matter. Wave's original carburetor BTL listed or bust. Would you put a Camaro engine in your Impala? Didn't think so. Web services are like hidden wiring taps under dash. BACnet/WS should be as clean as my stereo install, out of sight but perfect connections. Specs are Bible kisses manual. If your BACnet standard ain't as dog-eared as my 64 shop manual, you ain't doing it right. Slams trunk shut for emphasis. Bottom line? Whether it's numbers matching Impalas or rock-solid BACnet systems, do it right, do it once. Revs engine now. Who's ready to get their hands dirty with some real protocol work? Wrench studio microphone automobile restoration to BACnet cheat sheet. Impala concept BACnet equivalent. Pro tip: correct SS trim pieces. BTL certified devices. Avoid will fit knockoff controllers. Convertible cage nuts. BACnet/WS security extensions. Plan ahead for future upgrades. Rust free floor pan. Fully compliant implementations. Partial solutions corrode over time. Assembly manuals. BACnet standard document. Both prevent costly mistakes. Wrench hands-on lessons. Matching numbers matters, like numbers matching Impala parts. Rightward arrow use. BTL listed devices. Web enablement equals hidden wiring. Tuck BACnet/WS neatly like stereo wiring under carpets. Specs are Bible restoration. World's manuals equals BACnet's ISO 16484-5 standard. Television coming attractions. Tuning BACnet/WS like a hot rod. ECU BTL testing. The Impala's frame jig equivalent. Weather restoring cars or building automation systems. Authenticity pays dividends when you least expect it. Alice the BACnet mechanic. Hammer and wrench restoration wisdom for BACnet pros. Patch panels fail. Rightward arrow. Full protocol implementations last. Web services are like tilt wheels, useful but don't compromise structural integrity. Your spec book should look as worn as a mechanic's favorite manual. 3. Next topic. 0 Chapter 5. BACnet Application Layer Services. 5.1 BACnet Service Descriptions. 5.2 Alarm and Event Services. 5.3 File Access Services. 5.4 Object Access Services. 5.5 Remote Device Management Services. 5.6 Virtual Terminal Services. 2 Alice in BACnet Land, the Mad Hatter Service Manual for your 64 Impala. Scene: Alice stands in a garage where BACnet services appear as magical tools hanging next to wrenches, while the Cheshire Cat grins from the engine bay of a half-restored Impala. Wrench 5.1 Service Descriptions equals the Impala's shop manual. Alice's discovery. This manual explains what each tool does, but the Mad Hatter rewrote half the steps. Thumbscrew: BACnet services are like repair procedures, example how to replace a carburetor. Impala analogy: skip a step. Rightward arrow engine won't start. Skip a BACnet service. Rightward arrow devices won't talk. Police car light 5.2 Alarm and event services equals the Impala's squeaky brakes. Alice's problem: the brakes screech, but the Queen ignores it. Thumbscrew: acknowledge alarm equals mechanic confirms the squeal, but doesn't fix it. Confirmed event notification equals the brake pad sensor demands a signature. Impala fix: patchy alerts equals unreliable car, or building. Open file folder 5.3 File access services equals the glove box of secrets. Alice's find: the glove box holds schematics, if you can unlock it. Thumbscrew: file read equals retrieving the build sheet. File write equals updating the maintenance log. Impala lesson: corrupt files equals wrong torque specs, or broken BACnet devices. Hammer and wrench 5.4 Object access services equals the fidgety spark plugs. Alice's struggle: these plugs won't stay put. Thumbscrew: Read property equals checking the gap size. Write property equals adjusting it, but the header overrides you. Impala rule, mess with the wrong property rightward arrow engine misfires, or devices crash. Satellite antenna 5.5 remote device management equals the mechanic's telepathic wrench Alice's shock, you can tune the engine, from Wonderland. Thumbscrew, device communication control equals shutting off the fuel pump remotely. Reinitialize device equals force restarting the ECU. Impala risk, hackers equals gremlins in the wiring. Laptop computer 5.6 virtual terminal equals the magic radio Alice's joy, this radio answers questions. Thumbscrew, VT open equals turning the dial to BACnet. VT data equals asking, why is room 42 overheating? Impala quirk, laggy terminal equals staticky radio, check your network antenna. Checkered flag Alice's garage wisdom services are tools, use the right one, or strip the bolts. Alarms are squeaks, ignore them, and the wheels fall off. Remote management is power, but lock your garage, encrypt. In BACnet or carburetors, half measures leave you stranded. Alice revs the Impala, its exhaust pulses like a perfect heartbeat. Next episode, Alice vs. The Protocol Stack Jabberwocky, Dragon Electric Plug 3. Next topic. 0 Chapter 6. BACnet Network Layer. 6.1 NL Protocol Data Unit Structure. 6.2 Brief description of the NL messages. 6.21 Who is router to network, WRTON. 6.2.2 I am router to network, YRTON. 6.2.3 I could be router to network, ICPRTON. 6.2.4 Reject message to network, RMTN. 62 Impala disk brake conversion to Alice in BACnet land, the 64 Impala brake upgrade nightmare. 6.1 NL protocol data unit structure, the master cylinder swap. Thumbscrew, why won't these brake lines match the new dual reservoir? Like trying to connect drum brake hard lines to a disc brake conversion. Alice's problem, the old single circuit system, BACnet MS/TP, doesn't fit the new dual circuit setup, BACnet/IP, madness, the fittings are almost the same, but not quite. 6.2 NL messages, the mystery of the stubborn booster pin. Thumbscrew, this pin should come out, but it's rusted solid like a Who is router to network, WRTON. Request that gets no reply. Alice's headache, is the network down, or is this device just ignoring me? Solution, sometimes you gotta go under the dash, debug layer by layer. 6.2.1 Who is router to network, WRTON, the lost lug nut. Thumbscrew, where did the other spindle bolt go? Like shouting into the shop asterisk who has the 9/16 socket. Asterisk and getting silence problem. Without a reply, you're stuck with 3 lug nuts, incomplete network paths. 6.2.2 I am router to network, YRTON, the helpful shop buddy. Thumbscrew, I could route your brakes, but I'm busy with my own project. Like when a mechanic finally answers your socket question, but won't lend it problem, the network could work, if devices actually shared their routes. 6.2.3 I could be router to network, ICPRTON, the back-ordered part. Thumbscrew, yeah, we might have that caliper bracket, check back later. Like a router that sorta knows a path but isn't sure. Alice's despair, do I wait for this part, or just run without brakes? 6.2.4 Reject message to network, RMTN, the stripped bleeder valve. Thumbscrew, nope, not accepting your brake fluid. Like a router that outright refuses to pass your traffic problem, now you're stuck with air in the lines, dropped packets, the 5's network disaster, sort. Wires tangled like old brake hoses set in order? Routing paths change like a temporary zip tie fix shine? Corroded terminals, just like rusty drum hardware, standardize? Mostly compatible, except when it's not sustain. The system forgets routes like a mechanic misplacing tools. Alice's cheat sheet, WRTON equals where's my 10mm socket? YRTON equals I have it, but you can't use it. ICPRTON equals check the floor, maybe. RMTN equals nope, That bolt's stripped. Try again. Final lesson, in BACnet land, and break upgrades, nothing just fits. You'll need patience, adapters, and a big hammer. Drops the wrench. It lands on the only remaining drum brake. Wrench pro tip, the drink me bottle is brake fluid. The eat me cake is a crushed washer. Choose carefully. 3. Next topic. 0 Chapter 6. BACnet Network Layer. 6.1 NL Protocol Data Unit Structure. 6.2 Brief description of the NL messages. 6.21 Who is router to network, WRTON. 6.2.2 I am router to network, YRTON. 6.2.3 I could be router to network, ICPRTON. 6.2.4 Reject message to network, RMTN. 2. Alright, buckle up, cause we're talking Alice through Wonderland under the hood of a classic Chevy, specifically a 1962 Impala she's restoring, but with her curious chaos and a BACnet twist. Each Wonderland-style thumbscrew component she discovers teaches a concept from BACnet Chapter 6, focusing on routing and networks. Let's use the Disk Brake Conversion Kit install as the metaphor to decode Rabbit Face Alice in Disk Brake Wonderland Chapter 6.2.5 to 6.2.8, Network Routing, but make it mechanical magic tornado scene. Alice, in tight overalls, tea-stained gloves, and a torque wrench slung over her shoulder, walks into the garage where a half-done 62 Impala sits, drums on the front, spongy brakes, and chaos behind every wheel. Well, we need better control, she mutters, just like in Wonderland's network. Hammer and wrench. 6.2.5 Router busy to network, RBTN, analogy. Alice tries to install the left disc brake caliper, but the spindle area is jam-packed. In BACnet, the router is too busy to accept new messages from a network. Lightbulb Alice's take, this side's full up. Can't bolt nothing else here right now. Just like when a router says, nope. I'm busy, go somewhere else. RBTN equals this route's full. Wrench. 6.2.6 Router available to network, RATN, analogy. Suddenly, the right front spindle opens up. It's clean, greased, and ready. Alice hollers to the dormouse, we got space on this side. In BACnet, the router sends out a message that it's now free to take on network traffic. Lightbulb Alice's take, right side's wide open. Bring the rotor. Like a router saying, hey network, I'm ready to roll again. RATN equals this route's open. Nut and bolt. 6.2.7 Initialize routing table, IRT, analogy. Alice pulls out her scribbled notebook and draws a basic layout, calipers, rotors, lines mapping how the whole brake system's gonna work. In BACnet, this message sets up how all routers should initially know where to send stuff. Lightbulb Alice's take, let's sketch out where everything connects so the car don't get confused. Same as telling the network, here's the map of all the destinations. IRT equals set the map. Memo. 6.2.8 Initialize routing table AC, IRTA, analogy. After showing the map, Tweedledee reviews it and nods, yup, got it? Caliper goes here, master cylinder routes there. In BACnet, this confirms the routing table has been received and accepted. Lightbulb Alice's take, Tweedledee just signed off on the install plan, now we wrench. Like the router saying, map received, let's route correctly. IRTA equals map confirmed. Checkered flag. Final thought from Alice, just like brakes need a route for pressure to travel, BACnet routers need a map to know where data flows. And when a side's too busy, you use the other spindle. Let me know if you'd like a diagram with the brake system labeled as a BACnet routing table. 3. Next topic. 0 Chapter 6. 6.2.9 Establish connection to network, ACTN, June 2nd. 10 Disconnect connection to network, DCTN, June 2nd. 11 Challenge request, CR, June 2nd. 12 Security payload, SP, June 2nd. 13 Security response, SR, 2. Let's take Alice, our grease-smudged Wonderland wanderer, deeper under the hood of her classic 1962 Impala, where she's finishing the disc brake conversion and starts working on the hydraulic brake line connections and master cylinder security setup. This round, we're tackling the next level of BACnet routing and security messages using real-world, hands-on brake system work as the metaphor. Alice finds more thumbscrew components, and each teaches her something straight out of BACnet Chapter 6.2.9 to June 2, 13. Rabbit Face Alice in Disc Brake Wonderland PT2 BACnet messages through brake conversion wrenches and Wonderland Wisdom Link 6.2.9 Establish connection to network, ECTN, analogy. Alice is under the Impala with a fresh steel braided brake line in hand. She's connecting the master cylinder to the proportioning valve. This is when she's physically creating a channel for brake fluid to flow. In BACnet, a device says, "Hey, I need to talk to that network, let me connect." Light bulb Alice's take: if I don't connect this line, the fluid ain't going anywhere. Same thing with BACnet, you gotta make a connection before flow happens. ECTN equals let's hook up the line to start pressure, or data, flow. Fire extinguisher June 2, 10 disconnect connection to network, DCTN, analogy. Later, Alice sees a line dripping, bad fitting. She pulls the wrench, loosens the flare nut, and removes the brake line. That path is no longer part of the system. In BACnet, this message is sent to cleanly disconnect a device from a network. It's no longer part of the route. Lightbulb Alice's take: we gotta pull this brake line, it's not safe. That route's toast. DCTN equals remove that connection, lines off. Detective June 2, 11 challenge request, CR, analogy. Before Alice installs the new dual reservoir master cylinder, the Mad Hatter leans over and asks, is this part even real, or is it some knockoff from the Queen of Sketchy Parts? Alice has to verify its authenticity using specs and part numbers. In BACnet, this message challenges a device to prove it has proper credentials or security clearance. Lightbulb Alice's take: you don't just bolt mystery parts on a classic. Gotta ask, prove you belong. CR equals show me you're legit. Shield June 2, 12 security payload, SP, analogy. Alice finally pulls out the installation instructions, serial number, and manufacturer's stamp. This is the proof she uses to convince the Hatter that the part is authentic. In BACnet, this is the data that answers the challenge request. It proves your identity or provides credentials. Lightbulb Alice's take: here's the manual, serial, and receipt. Boom. Security payload delivered. SP equals here's the proof I belong. White heavy checkmark June 2, 13 security response, SR, analogy. The Hatter nods, satisfied. Okay, that part checks out. You can install it. Alice smiles and bolts down the master cylinder. In BACnet, this is the response from the network confirming that the security data was received and is valid. Lightbulb Alice's take: got the green light from the Tea Party tech inspector, she's good to go. SR equals your proof is verified, welcome aboard. Checkered flag final Wonderland lesson: rest and brakes ain't just about bolts and fluid, it's about making sure every part is connected, trusted, and secure. And BACnet routers? They're just like brake systems, they need clean connections and proof of identity before you go slamming on the pedal. Let me know if you want a diagram of the brake system labeled like BACnet connections and security checks, or want Alice to teach more chapters. 3 Next topic. 0 Chapter 6. June 2, 14 Request key update, RKU, update key set, UKS, update distribution key, UDK, request master key, RMK, set master key, SMK, 2. Let's cruise back into Wonderland's garage, where our grease-streaked heroine Alice is wrenching on her beloved 1964 Impala, halfway through a disc brake conversion and now diving into the brake system safety and access control, which we'll use as metaphors to explain the BACnet routing security key exchange system, 6.2.9, 6.2.15. In Wonderland logic, this means unlocking not just connections, but keeping the keys to pressure, power, and trust guarded like the Queen's private tea stash. Wrench Rabbit Alice in Wonderland Disk Brake Security Ops BACnet 6.2.9, June 2, 15 taught through the thumb screws and torque of a 64 Impala Disk Brake Swap Link 6.2.9 Establish connection to network, ACTN, analogy, Alice threads in a fresh brake line from the master cylinder to the left caliper sealing it tight with a flare nut. It's the first connection. In BACnet, a device saying, "Hey, I need to talk to the network, let's get this line open." Light bulb Alice's take, "Without this line, ain't no pressure get into the brakes. Gotta hook it up first." ACTN equals let's open this connection line and let the juice flow. Prohibited June 2, 10 disconnect connection to network, DCTN, analogy, later, Alice finds a brake line leaking under pressure, she disconnects the fitting to reflare the end. The flow path is closed for repair. In BACnet, close this connection, we're done talking on this path. Light bulb Alice's take, if the connection's bad, you shut it off so it doesn't blow under pressure. DCTN equals stop the flow, shut it down. Now, let's go deeper into brake security analogies, cause Wonderland don't let just anyone bleed the lines or handle master keys. Old key June 2, 14 request key update, RKU, analogy, the white rabbit shows up with an old brake bleeding kit, but Alice hollers, "You got last year's bleeder valve adapter. Get the updated one before touching anything." In BACnet, a device asks for updated security keys to stay in sync with the network. Light bulb Alice's take, tools gotta match the system. You can't be out here using old junk. RKU equals gimme the latest security tool / key so I can keep working. Counterclockwise arrows button update key set, UKS, analogy, Tweedledee hands Alice a new kit with updated pressure bleeder caps, hose ends, and instructions. Now she's fully equipped. In BACnet, the network sends updated encryption keys for continued secure communication. Light bulb Alice's take, with fresh tools, I can work clean. No leaks, no squeals. UKS equals here's the new key set, let's do it right. Beverage box update distribution key, UDK, analogy, now Alice walks over to the Queen's Royal Tea Crew and says, "Here's the universal brake bleeder adapter, everyone gets one so we don't mix up tools." In BACnet, this updates a shared key that multiple devices can use to encrypt communication. Light bulb Alice's take, everyone bleeds brakes the same way now, same tools, same rules. UDK equals all y'all use this shared key now, it's team standard. Request master key, RMK, analogy, the caterpillar rolls in, all fancy with a digital proportioning valve, but before Alice lets him touch the master cylinder, he says, "I need the master access code to tune this thing." In BACnet, a device asks for the main master key used for generating or verifying other keys. Light bulb Alice's take, you want in the master cylinder game? You better ask for the top level access. RMK equals request in the key to the whole system. White heavy check mark set master key, SMK, analogy, Alice hands the caterpillar the master key code and a wrench labeled "Do Not Lose." In BACnet, a new master key is issued, replacing the old one. Top level encryption update. Light bulb Alice's take, here's the big wrench that controls every twist in this brake system. SMK equals set the new top level master key, this one rules them all. Checkered flag Alice's Wonderland wrap up, you can't just slap parts on a 64 Impala without making sure every line is clean, every tool is up to spec, and every connection's legit. Same with BACnet Security, update your keys, verify your gear, and don't let no rabbit in with rusty tools. Would you like this turned into a visual brake and BACnet key system poster with Alice's voice bubbles and caliper connections? Or want Alice to teach the next chapter with bleeding lines and T-powered torque? Automobile 3. Next topic. 0 June 2, 15 What is network number, WIN, June 2nd, 16 network number is, NNI, June 2nd, 17 other NL message types. 2 Absolutely. Let's wrap up Alice's BACnet Brake saga with the final lessons from Chapter 6, using the 1964 Impala disc brake conversion as our metaphor and adding in strategy, deception, and elegance as if Alice were playing high-stakes survivor with a torque wrench and a chessboard. These last message types are about identification, communication, and handling the unexpected. Alice's job is now about finesse, not winning by force, but by thinking 3 steps ahead under the hood. Rabbit face brain Alice in Wonderland, brake lines, network mines and strategic moves. BACnet June 2nd, 15 to June 2nd, 17, taught through Impala wrench work and Wonderland wisdom puzzle piece. June 2nd, 15 What is network number? Win. Analogy, Alice stands under the dash of the 64 Impala, staring at a mystery brake line someone ran through the firewall. Where the hell does this one go? She mutters. She asks the Mad Hatter, is this front or rear? Left or right? She's identifying the source of a brake path. In BACnet, a device sends out a request, hey, which network number does this path belong to? Lightbulb Alice's take, you don't bleed a line if you don't know what it's connected to. Ask first. When equals what system does this connection belong to? Brain strategic insight, Alice doesn't panic, she asks a clean question before touching a mystery. No force, just a probe. No tears, just moves. Label June 2nd, 16 network number is, NNI, analogy, Tweedledee walks in with a sticker and says, that's line 42 rear passenger caliper. He tags the line and hands her the diagram. In BACnet, a device responds, this is my network number. Here's the identity you were looking for. Lightbulb Alice's take, now that I know where it goes, I can bleed it with precision. NNI equals here's what this connection is called in the system. Brain strategic insight, the wise don't guess, they wait for the information to present itself, then act. Outmaneuver before you outmuscle. Game Die June 2nd, 17 other network layer, NL, message types. Analogy, Alice pops the trunk and finds an unexpected proportioning valve with a handwritten note, this one's pressure timed for high-speed braking. Use only if you're racing Queen's Gambit 1/4 mile. It's not standard, but it still fits the brake system's purpose. In BACnet, there are additional network layer messages beyond the basics used for special cases, error conditions, or custom network logic. Lightbulb Alice's take, sometimes you find custom hardware in these old cars. You don't toss it, you figure out how to use it. Other NL equals unexpected network messages that still matter. Read the fine print. Brain strategic insight, not all threats are loud. Some come disguised as tools or helpers. The wise don't dismiss anomalies, they learn from them. The fool ignores the odd part. The wise one uses it as leverage. Checkered flag. Final strategy from Alice in Wonderland's garage, you don't win this brake build by yanking lines or hammering parts. You win it by knowing what goes where, when to ask, and how to handle the curveballs. Same with BACnet, you don't flood the network, you flow through it. Direct hit Alice's survivor rulebook, never attempt to win by force what can be won by clarity and timing. View tension as a challenge to organize the system better. Stay cold, stay sharp, no tears, just torque. Would you like this turned into a brake strategy visual map or character dialogue scene? Or shall Alice teach the next BACnet chapter using spark plug timing or fuel system analogies? 3. Next topic. 0. Chapter 6. 6.3 Providing for the distribution of messages to multiple recipients. 6.3.1 BACnet Multicasting. 6.3.2 BACnet Broadcasting. 2. Let's get back under the hood with Alice, gritty, clever, and calm as ever as she finishes the brake system restoration on her 1964 Impala. But this time, her focus shifts to how brake signals, like BACnet messages, get distributed to one caliper, to two, or to all four wheels, and what it teaches us about Chapter 6.3, Multicasting and Broadcasting. This is about distribution strategy. In Wonderland terms, don't scream when a whisper will do. Don't shout at everyone when you only need to warn your crew. Alice doesn't just fix. She outsmarts. Brainfire Alice in Wonderland, Brake Pressure and BACnet Message Distribution Chapter 6.3, Multicasting and Broadcasting taught through brake line flow logic hammer and wrench Wonderland setup. The brake system is mostly done. Alice's 1964 Impala now has disc brakes on all four corners, a dual reservoir master cylinder, and a combination valve that manages pressure flow. But before she bleeds the system and hits the road, she needs to understand how pressure, or a message, gets distributed to one wheel, two wheels, or all at once. Beverage Box 6.3 providing for the distribution of messages to multiple recipients analogy. When Alice steps on the pedal, she's sending a message, stop. But the question is, does she send it to one caliper? To just the front wheels? Or to all four? In BACnet, this is about how devices share data either to a group, multicast, or everyone, broadcast. Lightbulb Alice's strategic take: you don't pull all the stops unless you need to. Pressures power, use it wisely. Satellite Antenna 6.3.1 BACnet Multicasting Analogy. Alice tweaks her proportioning valve to only send braking power to the front brakes during normal stops, because they handle most of the car's weight. She's sending a message to a select group, not to all brakes. In BACnet, multicasting means sending a message to a specific group of devices who have opted in or belong to a defined address group. Lightbulb Alice's take: I ain't sending full pressure to the rear if the front's got it covered. Let the message go where it's needed. Multicast equals selective targeting, front calipers only. You're up, brain strategic wisdom. Why shout to everyone when a whisper to two gets the job done? Deception equals efficiency. Fronts brake harder, they take the hit, while rears stay fresh for the next move. Megaphone 6.3.2 BACnet Broadcasting Analogy. Alice finds herself skidding in the rain. She slams the brake pedal and activates all four brakes with full force. No time to finesse. It's an all-out call to every caliper: now. Stop. Everyone. In BACnet, broadcasting means sending a message to all devices on the network whether they need it or not. It's useful for urgent messages, but it's heavy on the system. Lightbulb Alice's take: when things get real, you send one big signal to all four corners. But do it too often, and you'll wear the system out. Broadcast equals one pressure blast, everyone reacts. No exceptions. Brain strategic wisdom. Broadcasting is like dropping a smoke bomb, effective in emergencies, but don't make a habit of it. No tears, just moves, but use the right move. Checkered flag. Final Wonderland wrench wisdom. The wise mechanic don't send power where it ain't needed. The fool floods the system and wonders why it blows. Be like the brake master, know your lines, know your targets. Brain Alice's strategic brake rules. Multicast equals surgical move. Smart, targeted. Front brakes only. Broadcast equals blunt force. Effective, but risky. Use it when you must. Tension is solved, not expressed. Let your brake lines whisper when they can and shout only when it saves your life. Want this turned into a diagram showing fluid paths as message types, or a dialogue scene with Alice teaching Tweedledee and the rabbit about overbleeding the network? Or keep rolling into the next BACnet section with more restoration metaphors. 3. Next topic. 0. Chapter 6. 6.4 Interconnecting BACnet Networks. 6.4.1 NL Procedure for Local Traffic. 6.4.2 NL Procedure for Remote Traffic. 2. Back in the Wonderland garage, Alice crouches under her 1964 Impala, tightening the last bleeder screw on a pristine disc brake system. But now she faces something trickier than rusty bolts routing the brake lines across multiple subsystems, each connected but not directly visible. It's time to interconnect systems just like BACnet networks. In Chapter 6.4, We're talking about how traffic moves between local and remote networks. Alice doesn't force her way through. She routes, plans, and deceives where needed. In Wonderland, brute force blows seals strategy saves lives. Brain wrench Alice in Wonderland, interconnecting break zones as BACnet Networks Chapter 6.4 NL Procedure for local and remote traffic explained via break line strategy. Oncoming automobile scenario setup. Alice has installed a dual reservoir master cylinder, a front/rear proportioning valve, disc brakes on all four corners, a line lock for staging at the drags, and a remote hydraulic handbrake system wired to the rear wheels. She's got multiple traffic zones in this Impala. Some lines stay local, others need routing through junction blocks and specialty valves to reach remote areas, like the rear brake circuits or the staging line lock. Round pushpin 6.4.1 NL Procedure for local traffic analogy. Alice steps on the brake pedal gently. The fluid moves from the master cylinder directly to the front brake calipers, no detours. No routing tricks. This is local traffic, a clear connection in the same neighborhood. In BACnet, if a device needs to talk to another device on the same network, the message takes a direct path. No router involved. Quick, quiet, clean. Light bulb Alice's take: if I know it's right here in front, I don't send it through the whole car. Keep it tight. Keep it efficient. Local traffic equals direct pressure to front calipers, fast and reliable. Brain strategic wisdom: don't reroute what's right in front of you. It's wasteful and foolish. Precision, not panic. The wise do at once what the fool does eventually. Globe with Meridian 6.4.2 NL Procedure for remote traffic analogy. Alice activates the hydraulic handbrake from the dash, but the rear calipers are far away, and the system has to route fluid through a distribution block, a secondary proportioning valve, and a solenoid-controlled lock. That's a remote path. Brake pressure is still delivered, but it goes through several decision points first. In BACnet, when a device sends a message to a device on a different network, the message must be forwarded through a router. That router determines the path and handles traffic redirection. Lightbulb Alice's take: rear brakes don't get the pressure till I tell the system how to route it, and only if everything upstream plays nice. Remote traffic equals routed pressure path with checks and logic built in. Brain strategic wisdom: tension ain't a problem, it's a signal. Trace it, route it, solve it. No tears, just flow. Alice outmaneuvers brake lag by building a system that routes smarter, not harder. In the final phase of Alice's Wonderland brake restoration, her routing strategy mirrors the rules of BACnet networking. When dealing with NL procedures for local traffic, Alice likens it to the direct connection between the master cylinder and the front calipers, a clear, uninterrupted path that requires no detours or rerouting. The strategic wisdom here is simple: don't reroute when local flow solves the problem. There's no need to complicate what's already efficient. On the other hand, NL procedures for remote traffic are a different game. Alice compares this to the brake signal from the dash to the rear hydraulic handbrake, which must pass through a series of valves, junction blocks, and solenoids. This isn't about speed, it's about control and planning. Her rule for this situation is: route only when you must and know every junction it hits. In both cases, Alice's approach is guided not by emotion, but by clarity, control, and strategic foresight. Checkered flag. Final Wonderland brake routing rules. BACnet concept: Impala disc brake analogy. Strategic rule: NL for local traffic, master cylinder to front calipers, direct, don't reroute when local flow solves the problem. NL for remote traffic, dash to rear handbrake via valves and solenoids, route only when you must and know every junction it hits. Brain collision. Alice's survivor wisdom shop: never force what can be routed. Local flow is strength. Remote flow is strategy. Tension is your cue, not your enemy. It's a puzzle. Solve it, don't scream at it. Don't be loud. Be smart. Don't warn your opponents. Just flow past them. Would you like Alice to diagram the brake routing paths as network flows, or expand the analogy to include redundant pressure lines as backup routes. Or move into the next BACnet section using steering alignment or fuel system metaphors. 3.